Okay. Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Professor.
Okay, is my voice clear, online students?
Yes,
Yes.
Professor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, let's discuss one thing. Yeah, we are scheduled to have the exam on September 30th, right?
Yes, Professor.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, one of your friends is requesting to postpone the exam to a later date. So it's suggesting end of October, early November. Yeah, so if many of you also agree, then we will do so. Yeah, but the issue is this class time slot cannot be used because another course will start in October. Okay, so we have to consider some irregular timing. Okay, if we have to postpone, if we will postpone the exam. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, first of all, in principle, do you agree to postpone? Who doesn't want?
I don't want to postpone. Yeah, I would vote for. Yeah.
I will go also with 30 September.
Sorry, can you say again?
Yeah,
I'm
I
also
would want to postpone.
CJ?
September is good for me. September 30. Yes.
sent to me.
September 30th.
Yes.
Let's not postpone.
Who? Nishanta?
Yes.
How many of you? Can you raise your hand? Yeah. Who doesn't want to postpone? One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in offline 8. Oh. Wait. When and online, who doesn't want to postpone?
I think we, yeah.
Hassan, DJ.
I think we have 4 of us online according to the chat.
And Nishanta.
Yeah.
And
Sir, I am a sit-in student, so it's okay for me, sir.
yeah, you're not supposed to attend the exam.
Yeah.
Do not postpone. Okay. Yeah, so it's about half and half. Yeah, but we also need to think about when. Okay. Yeah, because depending on the timing, maybe you will have preferences. You
So
may not.
actually, Professor, why are we postponing it?
Sorry.
Why are we trying to postpone it?
Yeah, she thinks she may be in quarantine. There's a lot of formalities involved in the traveling.
Oh, okay.
So that kind of thing. Travel-related hassle. Yeah, but yeah, let's also consider. Yeah, realistically, when we can do it, if we postpone, okay?
Yeah.
Realistic.
Yeah, when is it going
Sorry?
to happen? Yeah, if we are postponing considering our travel hassle, when
Yeah.
will we scheduling the test?
Yeah, so that's the thing. Okay. So let's see.
Because if we reschedule, then the next time we will be again coming, and again there will be a problem.
Sorry. Yeah, so I don't know who is not available Monday morning.
I am not available.
You're not available. Okay, Monday afternoon. Who is not available?
I am not available Monday afternoon.
Okay.
Mass.
Sorry.
I also mass.
We assign 2 hours, but you finish in 1 hour. Yeah, but for 1 hour, we need to assign 2 hours. Okay, Tuesday from 8 to 10. Anyone?
I have a class, Professor.
Okay. Tuesday 10 to 12. Okay. Tuesday 1 to 3. You're not available.
I also have a class.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was expecting it. No problem. Okay. Also evening?
Yeah, it was till 6 p.m.
Tuesday, I have class in the evening.
Okay. Wednesday? Wednesday, 8 to... Am I available? Yeah, Wednesday morning.
No, no Wednesday morning, I guess, because I have another class.
You have class?
Yeah, Dr. Vilas.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. UEM. Yeah. Wednesday afternoon. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2. Yeah, between 1 and 4. Wednesday. Yeah, but usually faculty have meetings on Wednesday. So that is the problem. Yeah. So it's a bit difficult. So Thursday, 8 to 10.
No, I'm not available at that time.
You have a class? 10 to 12. Oh, okay. Thursday, 1, 2, 3. 1 to 3. Huh?
I have classes.
We have classes after all day afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah. No, no, it's not available. Another course will come. Yeah, from October, another course will start in this time slot. Yeah, so that's why I'm exploring other slots. Okay, Friday. Friday morning. Huh? 10 to 11. No, no, this is not take home. 8 to 10. Too early. Yeah, for South Asia, it's too early actually. Yeah. One. No, I don't have. No, no, no. I have a class. Yeah. 3 to 5. Yeah, that will come next. Yeah, and then I'll ask about evening. Saturday. It will be online. It will be online. So everybody will be online in the exam. No, no, I'm also not available because I'll be teaching in the same time slot for another course. It's not only the classroom. Saturday. Yeah, so that means, let's say 31st October. or 1st November? Anyone who is not available?
When, Professor?
Now I'm talking about October 31st and November 1st.
Professor, it's a big gap between class and the test.
Sorry?
It is a big gap between the class and the test. The class will complete it on 24th September, perhaps.
Yeah.
You are going to take the exam on 31st October and 1st of November. It's too late,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, maybe it depends on the preference. Yeah. If you want to have time preparing, then you may want to.
We will forget everything.
Professor,
Sorry.
if we come to Thailand, then it will be somewhere around October 31. So what are we supposed to do then? We should stay in quarantine or something like that.
Yeah. I think that is the possibility. And then, yeah, before traveling, I think it will be hectic because of the. No. That will be difficult in terms of grading. Okay. So, yeah. So if you don't want weekend, then I'll ask about evening. Weekend? You cannot? Yeah. Usually students have some obligations on weekend. Okay. So after 6 on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, after 7 on Wednesday. Maybe let's ask about Monday, Tuesday. So 6 to, it will be a bit late in China, probably. Monday, anyone who's not available?
Monday,
On Monday.
Hmm?
What time on Monday?
Monday, I'm talking about 6 to 8.
Oh,
Monday, I guess there is class.
You have a class? Okay, Tuesday. You have class? Evening class, okay. Wednesday, it will be from 7. So let's ask Thursday first. Thursday, from 6 to 8.
I'm not available.
I'm
not available on that time.
You're not available. Okay.
Usually we don't have class on weekend or after evening.
Sorry?
Usually we don't have class on weekend or after evening.
Sorry, I cannot hear you well.
Usually we don't have class on weekend or after evening. I mean, after 6 p.m. we don't have classes usually.
Which day?
Yes, on weekday.
After 6, no. Which day are you talking about?
Hello.
Yeah. No.
Hello.
Some students are same because there are evening classes in other schools, like some said. So that's what they are talking about.
Okay.
Okay. How about Friday? From 6? set, right? Hmm. Okay, so no timing. Then the only possibility, alternative, is to do it during the final exam period. Hmm. So during the semester, it's difficult. Okay. Triangle. It's not totally denied, but I removed because of my priority. But Wednesday, from 1 to because faculty have meetings actually. Yeah, so that's why I tentatively removed. Yeah, but if everyone's okay with Wednesday early afternoon, then I'll think about.
Pardon, teacher. Excuse me. I'm not available. I have an EL class.
You have class?
Yeah, EL class on the Wednesday afternoon.
Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is also good. Okay, then either to do it as scheduled or during the final exam period. What do you think? How about so final exam, what do you think, Kuntala?
Hello?
Yeah, if we do it during the final exam period.
I don't have any problem.
End of November.
During final exam, I don't have any problem.
Other students? Which do you want? Okay, so now, end of November or end of September.
Let's not change anything. That will be great, I think.
Yeah, so end of September, who prefers end of September?
I do.
1, 2, 3, 4. End of September means as it is.
As it is.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, now asking about September. Offline 15. Online students.
Let's keep as it is. Let's keep in end of September here. That will be good.
I think September is better than the end of the semester because it's a long time between the end of the course and.
Okay, who prefers November then? Let me ask about November. Can you raise your hands? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think most students prefer September. Okay. Yeah, so let's do it in September. Okay? Okay. Okay, so September 30th. Okay. Yeah, and then my current plan is to do it online. Okay, so no offline session. Not hybrid, but online exam using exam.net, introduced by the institute, by Vice President. But he will also make some announcement about the midterm soon. Okay, and then depending on what he says, we also need to consider. But sorry. I haven't decided yet. My plan is leaning toward open book, but basically this exam.net method is considered for a closed book. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Is it going to be on exam.net or Turnitin?
It's going to be on exam.net.
Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you.
That is the plan. But last semester, I didn't use it. So I also want to practice it first. Okay, but many people liked it, especially students liked it. Because they feel it's fair. It's a fair method.
I participated in a January session in exam.net.
Oh, you attended it?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. Okay. So last time, we discussed the relationship between inequality reduction and poverty reduction. Okay. Yeah, so we use this indicator, okay? Indicator of inequality, okay? And then how different levels of inequality are related to different levels of poverty. Okay, and then what was the result? We kind of expected that inequality reduction leads to poverty reduction as well. Okay? Yeah, so if that is the hypothesis, oh, what's that? Why? Yeah, so according to that hypothesis, we are supposed to see a positive relation. Okay? Positive means upward sloping. Okay, so we kind of expected to see this kind of relationship, which we didn't observe. First of all, it was downward sloping. Secondly, the relationship was not significant because of not so big R squared. So the meaning of this is there was no relationship, neither positive nor negative. Okay. Yeah, so this relation was empirically not shown. Okay, empirically means using actual data. Empirically not shown, although theoretically there's some relationship. Okay, theoretically. By removing or reducing inequality, poverty may decrease. Okay, in theory. Yeah, so that's something we can still argue. Okay, but the reality doesn't support it. right? Yeah, and then, yeah, we can look a bit more into it right after this. Hey, what happened? Okay. Yeah, so however, this doesn't mean, okay, I don't mean to say inequality is not important, okay? Inequality reduction is still important, okay, for some reasons. For example, for one thing, it can lead to political instability, okay? Yeah, so we have observed many cases in history where there was a huge income gap, huge inequality. Then, yeah, we tended to observe some, unrest, insurgents, violence arising. Okay, not always, but yeah, from time to time, we have observed such incidents in different parts of the world. Okay. Yeah, so we will not discuss that much because it's a politics subject. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, that is one consideration. Okay. So yeah, political stability, and then also inequality reduction. This can be a goal per se. Okay. Not because it will contribute to poverty reduction, but inequality reduction itself is regarded by many people as a good thing. Okay. Yeah, so social equity perspective, from the viewpoint of social equity, that can be a goal itself. Okay. Even though it doesn't contribute to poverty reduction. Okay. It doesn't matter. Reducing inequality is still considered a good thing. And that is why it is included in SDG. Okay. And then, yeah, SDG 10. SDG 10 is about inequality reduction. Yeah, but keep in mind, SDG 10, it says inequality, but it's not only about inequality within the country. SDG 10 says inequality, it also refers to inequality between countries. Okay? Yeah, so in this course's context, that is actually poverty reduction. Okay, poverty reduction in low-income countries. Okay. Yeah, so we are not saying inequality reduction is not important, but we have to understand it's a good thing, not because it will reduce poverty. Okay? Okay. Yeah, so basically, when we talk about poverty reduction, okay, if that is the main topic, okay, this average income growth is much more important. It's a much stronger driver for reducing poverty rates. Okay? And it is also linked to various other indicators of quality of life that we saw in class 2. Okay? Yeah, so that will be basically the focus of this course. Okay? How can we achieve average income growth? Okay? So that we can reduce the number of poor people. Okay, so now we consider. Yes.
Since you said the average income growth is like more important to reduce poverty, right? But then average income growth can increase because like who already have higher income have now higher income, right? Like
Yeah,
average number will be affected by that also, no?
Of course, but you remember we explained about how this average income growth leads to reducing poverty. we discussed the example of factories, labor demand, labor supply in Bangkok and Nam.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
So as long as markets are working, labor markets, okay, not perfect, but to some extent, as long as markets are working, then there's a force to close the gap, okay, when average income goes up. Yeah, so that is exactly why closing inequality indeed leads to poverty reduction. Okay. Okay, so let's think a little bit about the theory. Okay, so now we've been discussing the empirical, okay, actual data only. But it's also helpful to understand underlying theory. Oh, why? Okay, income distribution. This graph, okay, this curve, this represents income distribution. What is income distribution? On the horizontal axis, you plot income per capita. Okay, income per person. And then on the vertical axis, it represents frequency. Frequency of finding such people. Okay? Yeah. So basically, it means the number of people. Okay? Number of people in that specific income range or level. Okay? So that is what the vertical axis represents. Yeah, for example, the meaning of this one. Okay, let's say meaning of this. Okay.
Professor,
Yes.
can we say that the C is the most C has the most income? B is lesser than C, is lesser than B. Is it?
Are you talking about ABC?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll explain it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm now explaining the meaning of this curve. Okay. Yeah, so this means, okay, income at this level. Okay. At this income level, this many people are found. Okay. So this height represents the number of people, or frequency of people, or counts. Okay, head counts. You will observe at this income level. Okay, so this is the income level. Okay, horizontal axis. At this income level, you observe this many people. Okay, so that's the meaning of this curve. Okay, let's say this is the average income. This is the average income. So average income is measured by the length of this horizontal line. Okay? Okay. At the average income, you will observe this many people. So now you have a lot. Now you observe many people at this level because it's average. Okay? Yeah, but still it's not the most frequent income. The most frequent income is a little bit lower than the average income. Yeah, so here, this point, at this point, the observation is most frequent. Okay? The income level at which the frequency is maximized is called mode. Okay? As opposed to average. This one, we call it average. This level of income, we call it mode income. Mode means most frequent. Okay. Okay. So at mode income, we observe this many people. Frequency is maximized. Okay. And now we talked about poverty line. If it's a developing country, then there's a defined poverty line, which is usually below the average income or even mode income. Okay, let's say poverty line was here. Okay, so the length of this arrow, horizontal arrow, represents the poverty line. Okay. Yeah, at this poverty line level, you observe this many people. So you can say this is kind of a low-income country because we observe a lot of people who have income at the poverty line level, exactly at the poverty line level. Okay. Yeah. So now let's think about what the area means. Area. Okay, not the height. Okay, not the height, but think about area. The meaning of area is between this income and this income. This is the number of people you observe. Okay. However, we usually don't use the absolute number. We usually don't use the absolute number. We normalize this. Okay, normalize this means we consider percentage. Okay. So in percentage, total population is 100%. Right? So we think about what's the percentage of people in this range. Maybe something like 7%. Okay. So in the case of this curve, this area, okay, that I just draw, this area represents, it means that 7% of the population is in this range of income. Okay, 7% of the population. Okay, so by definition, the total area below this curve is 100. Okay, that's the total population. Total area below this curve all the way, okay, it amounts to 100 because we represent population by percentage. Okay, so everybody, all people belong somewhere. Okay, so when you calculate the total area below this curve, then you get 100. Only this area, if you consider only this area, it gives you 7%. Meaning that the 7% of the population are in this income range. Okay, yeah, based on this, let's look at A. Okay, let's look at A. This shadowed area, shaded area. Okay, yeah. Yeah, in the same way, this shaded area, A, this represents percentage of people who have income between 0 and poverty line. Okay, so that is poverty rate. Okay, between 0 and poverty line, that means below poverty line. Okay, so this shaded area gives you the poverty rate, percentage of people who are below poverty line. You got my point? So let's. Huh? Okay, so the last line, shaded area A represents the population in poverty. Yeah, we often denote it as P0, P sub 0 or P naught. Okay, so this P naught means poverty rate. Okay, poverty rate. Is it clear the meaning of this income distribution curve? So one thing you can say is this distribution is skewed, okay, not very symmetric, but skewed to the right. It has a long tail going to the right. So this kind of distribution shape is very common when you think of income or asset because of inequality. Yeah, very few people, although the number is small, very minority, but there are some people having very high income. Okay? So this curve doesn't touch zero so quickly. It doesn't touch, it touches to the very, very light. Okay, toward the right. Okay, so that is one characteristic. Distribution is typically skewed to the right or right skewed because of, even though minority, some people, a few people have extremely high income. And because of that, that is the reason why average is higher than mode. Okay, mode is the most common income. Okay, most probable income. The income that you are most likely to find when we randomly catch people. Okay, but that kind of commonly observed income level and average income are a little bit different. Average is higher. And that is because of this kind of people. A few very rich people raising the average income. Okay. Okay, any question about this? Yeah, in the next slide, we need to have this understanding. Is it okay? Okay, then, yeah, we can take a break for 10 minutes.
Because the ratio is represent the frequency and the one is the income. So how could this space becomes population? It's a population, right? How could be?
Because we define this total area is the total population. Okay, so this is the partial population, people who are below this income level.
Yeah. So is I'm not sure because before I studied some gymnastics, this space will represent the population.
Yes, yes.
I forgot
But
how
population of poor people.
Yeah. How just a definition is redefined? Just a definition or other reasons?
Yeah, if we take frequency on the vertical axis, then number of people, population, is obtained by integral calculus. Integral calculus is to add up all the vertical line. So adding all the vertical line is equivalent to calculating the area.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
So calculating the area is the same as counting all the lines on all the vertical lines. Yeah.
I see.
Next time, do we need to calculate to do the calculation in this exam?
Professor, I have a question.
No, you don't calculate. Okay. Yeah, by the way, next semester, we are not sure about the public policy course. Because Dr. Felipe is leaving us in November. So I'm not sure. We haven't yet discussed how we will offer a public policy course in January. Okay. Okay. Now, so we talked about income distribution. Okay. Okay, next. Yeah, so we discussed how average income growth and inequality reduction can contribute to poverty reduction. Okay, we will see it. And for that, to make it simple, we omit the long tail. Okay, we omit the right skew. Yeah, just for simple, because it will not change the argument. It will not change the story at all. Okay, so we now consider very simple, symmetric, bell-shaped, like a normal distribution. Okay, but still, in principle, it represents the different levels of income. Okay, and in the center, toward the average, okay, toward the ordinary level of income, you will find more people. Okay, so that is why you have a peak near the center. Okay. Okay, so now we consider income growth. Okay, without changing inequality. Okay, we look at it one by one. Okay. Yeah. So this orange line is before the change, before the growth. Okay. And after the growth, it moves to the right because the average income increases. Okay. So it moves to this green. Okay, so now we consider the effect of this on poverty. Okay? So poverty rate is the area, size of area to the left of the poverty line, as we saw in the last slide. Okay? That is the area A in the last slide. Okay, so before the change, before the growth, the poverty rate was this triangle. Yeah. Huh? What's this? Oh, okay. Yeah, so this one. Okay. This area, orange A. Orange A is the poverty rate before growth. Okay. And then after growth, what will happen? It becomes this area below green, to the left of this line. Okay? So that's what represents the reduction in poverty, okay, poverty rate, due to average income growth. Okay, so the poverty rate initially was this much. Okay, after the growth, it reduced to this level. Okay. Okay, now that is growth. Now we think about inequality reduction. Inequality reduction without growth. Okay? When inequality reduces, what will happen to the shape of distribution, income distribution? The shape of the bell shape of this curve narrows. Yes. Okay, it narrows. So it's like, yeah, grabbing the tip and then pulling it up. So this kind of change occurs when inequality reduces. Okay, without changing the average income. Okay, so this red shape becomes this green, steeper kind of hat after reducing inequality.
So that curve can be called leptokurtic curve.
Sorry?
Inequality reduction. Can we call that leptokurtic?
What did you say?
I will write in chat.
Nishanta, what did you say? Can this be called? Can this be called what? Okay. Leptokurtic, yeah. Yes, that is the statistical term. Yes. Yeah, you can say it. Okay. Yeah, so when you think about the higher moments of the distribution, yes, you can define the shape of the curve that way. Okay. So yeah, so it will be steep if you reduce income inequality. Okay. And then what happens to the poverty rate? Poverty rate is the area below the curve to the left of the poverty line. Okay. So initially, it was this, the same as before. Okay. This orange, okay, orange curve, and then vertical line, and the horizontal line. That was the poverty rate. After inequality reductions, it becomes this area. Okay, below the green. Okay, so that is the extent of reduction in poverty rate as a result of this kind of reduction in inequality. Okay, so that is how poverty reduction is captured graphically. Okay, by two different forces. One is income growth, the other is inequality reduction. Okay. So earlier, using the actual data, we found that this reduction was not that much from the data. Whereas this reduction was significant. Okay. Much more noticeable from the data. That is what we observed from the actual data. Right? Okay, so now we looked at growth effect, okay, average income growth effect, and the inequality reduction effect separately. So now we combine. Now we combine the two. Okay. Yeah. So this one is the initial state. This curve, this dotted curve. That is the initial one. Because usually average income growth and not always inequality reduces, okay? But let's say, because we are seeing the effect of inequality reduction, okay? So let's say inequality also reduced, okay? Then what will happen? Okay, so this initial curve, okay, income distribution, this became at the end this red one, okay, at the end. Okay, so you can see the average increased, and also it got steeper. Okay, the peak is higher. Okay, so in this case, we are considering the case where inequality reduced. Okay, which is not always the case, but let's suppose. Okay, and then let's decompose the poverty reduction into these two effects. Okay, growth effect and distributional effect. Okay, now we consider this other intermediate curve. Okay, yeah, just for the sake of calculation. Okay, it doesn't change like this. Okay, it doesn't change like this curve becomes this and then becomes this. Okay, just for the sake of calculation, we consider this one. Okay, so this curve represents only the average group, only the average changed from the initial state. Okay, so comparing this initial curve and this intermediary one, you can observe the growth effect on poverty reduction, which is this purple, violet. Okay, as you observed in the last slide. Because the average income group, the poverty rate decreased from this side to this side. Okay, so the change is this purple. Purple is the reduction in poverty rate. Only due to the average income growth. Okay. So now from here, from this intermediary curve, we think about how inequality reduced. So from here, the curve became this red. Okay. Yeah. By that, to what extent poverty rate decreased? That is this light blue. Okay. Because with this intermediary distribution, the poverty rate was this triangle. Okay. After inequality reduction, it became this small triangle below red. Okay, so the change is this blue, light blue. So this light blue represents the distributional effect on poverty reduction. Okay, and this purple represents the growth effect on poverty. Okay. So the total poverty reduction is this sum of purple and light blue. Okay, that is the total poverty reduction. But we can distinguish, we can decompose the poverty reduction into these two forces. Okay. So in general, this purple is much bigger than the light blue. In general, or in reality. That is why we observed that insignificant relationship earlier. Okay. Sorry.
I want to know the second line, like the intermediate, right? What does it mean by, I mean, in terms of?
That is just for calculation.
Oh.
That is just for the purpose of decomposing the poverty reduction into two causes, two factors. That is not the actual curve that was realized. Yeah. Yes.
The poverty line shift to the right.
Poverty line shift to the right. Yeah, by revising the definition, it can shift. Because once in a decade or once in many years, World Bank updates the poverty line. Okay, at least international poverty line. Yeah, then the position of the poverty line could shift to the right. Yes. Yeah, to represent the reality. Because also prices go up, not only income. Okay, so the intermediary curve, this is just a hypothetical one for the calculation purpose. Okay, it's not the actual. The only actual ones are the initial and the last one. Okay. Okay, so growth in average income, if it comes without worsening inequality, that is of course ideal. Okay. But very often it's not the case. When average income grows, then inequality in many cases worsens, but still poverty reduces. That is what we observed last week. Okay. But if you achieve a kind of ideal way of average income growth, that is growth in average income without worsening inequality, we often call it inclusive growth. Yeah, inclusive growth means we are not leaving the poor people behind in the course of average income growth. Okay. It can also mean other minorities, not only poor people. Okay. yeah, it can be more generalized. Okay, but yeah, particularly, it can include poor people, people below poverty line. So yeah, that was a theory. Okay, so in theory, if average income doesn't change and we only reduces inequality, then poverty rate can decrease a bit. Okay, in theory. But empirically, we don't find it because that the relation is not so strong. Okay. Okay, so that is basically what we found. So average income growth reduces poverty rate. Okay, but changes in inequality, it's a bit ambiguous. Okay, and sometimes or very often insignificant. You don't find significant relation because of the weak effect compared to average income growth. Okay. So maybe you can review what we observed here. Yeah, so what happened in, let's say, in China and Indonesia? Okay, you remember what happened in China in terms of poverty reduction? A big number of people escaped from poverty. Okay, which is coupled by the rapid income growth. Okay, so from here to here, the average income of China significantly increased. And then poverty declines sharply. And a big number of poor people disappeared. Okay? But when you look at this inequality indicator, inequality actually widened. Okay? Okay, so that can happen. Inequality doesn't always reduces when there is growth and poverty reduction. Okay, so that is why inequality reduction is a goal per se. It's not the driver. Okay, for reducing poverty. Okay. Yeah, so I already discussed. Now the last thing is, yeah, we haven't talked about how average income and inequality are related. Yeah, typically we observe some relationship in between. Okay, so that's what we will show at the end of this class 10 material. Okay, so we now forget about poverty rate for the time being. Okay, we only think about average income and inequality. Again, empirically, okay, using actual data, historically, we observe this kind of relationship. What does it mean? So as countries' income per capita grows, okay, from here to here, let's say. So initially, when the country is very poor, you are here, right? What happened? Oh. Oh. Hmm? Yeah, okay. So yeah, so when the income level is very low, then yeah, and from there, at the early stage of growth, inequality tends to widen. Initially, poor people are left behind. Okay. Yeah, but at some point, with further growth in average income, inequality tends to reduce. Tends to start reducing. Okay. So historically, this kind of relationship has been observed. Okay. So let's call it stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 1 is the early stage of economic growth, during which inequality tends to widen. Okay. And then stage 2, after some point, when income level further grows, then inequality starts to reduce. So that stage we call it stage 2. Okay. Okay. Yeah. By the way, this kind of curve is referred to as Kuznets. Okay. So that is the researcher's name. So he invented this theory of Kuznets curve. Okay. Yeah. So now we apply it to the environmental problems as well. Environmental Kuznets curve. Okay. But this is the original one. Original Kuznets curve. Okay. Yeah. So this implies at stage 1, as off-farm jobs increase. Okay. Yeah. So at the very beginning, everybody is in agriculture. Okay. But when there are some off-farm sector development, then that is often accompanied by the mechanization in agriculture. Okay. So farm labor is replaced by machines. Okay. And because of increased availability of off-farm jobs, labor shifts from agriculture to off-farm jobs. Typically manufacturing. Okay. But also some service industries as well. Okay. So when that happens, then center of the economy will shift to urban areas. Okay. Gradually, from rural areas to urban areas. Okay, because in urban areas there are better paying jobs. Okay, yeah. Then think about inequality. Urban business owners, they are the richest. Okay, they become the richest segment, and then urban workers are the next richest. Maybe not the richest, but better than farmers. Okay, and then rural residents, they remain the poorest. So that kind of inequality begins to emerge as the economy develops and average income per capita increases. Okay, so that is what tends to happen during stage 1. Okay, yeah. So this is a process of rural-urban inequality. But in stage 2, inequality then starts decreasing. Why? We already explained it. We already explained the mechanism in class 4. Okay, when urban areas have higher wage compared to rural areas, what will happen? People migrate to urban areas. Factories will move from urban to rural areas. Okay, so that will cause a change in supply and demand of labor in urban areas and rural areas. Okay, so that mechanism will contribute to closing the gap. Okay. Okay, so this is what we observe empirically.
In slide, sorry.
My question is in slide 1, we say that there's no significant correlation between inequality reduction and poverty reduction, but this graph says the
theory.
opposite, right?
Yeah, this is theory. So in theory, it can reduce. But this means empirically.
Empirical, okay.
Using the actual data.
Okay, so in theory, we based on this one.
Yes,
Empirical, we
in
don't
reality,
see any
we don't
significant. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Tend to worsen poverty in low income.
Sometimes it can worse. Yeah, because yeah, let's think about one example of a very low income place. Okay, this is not Kuznets curve. This is again income distribution. Okay, so let's think about very poor state. In this poor state, poor country, let's say poverty line is here. Because many people are still in poverty. Okay, because the average income level is low, poverty line is higher than average. Okay, if you reduce inequality, what will happen? So if you reduce inequality, it will be this kind of change. It gets steeper. Okay, then what will happen to poverty rate? Poverty rate is increasing. Yeah, because initially poverty rate was area below this. Okay? But now poverty rate is area below this steep curve. Actually, under this steep curve, to the right of poverty line, there's almost no people. Okay? Almost everybody is under the poverty line. Yeah, so poverty rate it may decrease. Sorry, may worsen, may increase in a very low income places. This is just one example. Okay, in reality, it can be more complicated. Okay, maybe it's not bell-shaped. Maybe poverty rate is not this much. Okay, yeah. So just giving an example. Yeah. So this happens if the average doesn't change. Okay. If average doesn't change and only you reduce the inequality in a very low income place, then it will not contribute to reduction in poverty. Okay, so that's why the growth is important, especially in very low income places. Okay. Yeah, so we finished the material 10. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, please open the new material. Okay, so probably tomorrow is Thursday, right? Yeah, so tomorrow we will start analyzing poverty. Okay, we will discuss poverty trap. But before that, we introduce one very important concept. Okay, and that is stock and flow. Okay, we have to distinguish stock values or stock variables versus flow values or flow variables. Okay. Okay, so stock and flow. Okay, so in many scientific disciplines, such as physics, chemistry, economics, and also accounting, okay, and many other fields, we distinguish between quantities that are stocks and those that are flows, okay, because they have
sir.
distinct characteristics. Yes?
I think you don't share the screen.
Oh, really? Okay, let me check. Okay, you're right. Okay. Okay, so what are the differences? A stock is measured at one point in time, and it represents a quantity existing at that point in time, which has accumulated from the past to that point. Okay, so it's an accumulation. Accumulation measured at one point in time. What happened? Okay, on the other hand, what is flow? A flow is measured over an interval of time, over some duration, not at one point in time. Okay, so flow would be measured by unit of time. Okay, for example, kilogram per year, or dollar per year, or baht per month, or baht per day. Okay, so always that time concept is there, per unit of time. Okay, when you discuss flow variables. So in one sense, flow is similar to rate or speed, because it's always per unit of time. It's like a speed. Okay, 60 kilometers per hour. It's a speed, right? But that means the flow is 60 kilometers. Okay, measured by the unit of time, in that case, 1 hour. Okay, so it's similar to speed and rate. Okay, yeah, so think about this. There's inflow of income. Okay, so income is flow. Because income is annual, monthly, daily. There's always a time dimension. Okay, so income is typically flow, expense as well. Okay, okay, now there's income and then outflow of expenses. But what is the stock? Stock is your savings. Okay, savings you don't count over a period of time. You give the amount, you tell the amount for one point in time. For example, your savings amount is this much as of today, okay? Or as of 31st July, or as of 31st December 2019. You specify one point in time, okay? Not the duration. When you talk about the amount of savings, okay? Because it's a stock value, stock variable, okay? So as income comes in, it adds to the stock. Okay, your savings increases. But as you spend, it decreases. Okay. Okay, next. Yeah, already explained. Yeah. So if a net flow is positive, your stock increases. Net flow means inflow minus outflow. Okay, so net flow can be negative. If expense is larger than income, then your net flow is negative. Okay, when negative is added, then the stock decreases. Okay, but that is net flow. Okay, if you consider just flow, inflow and outflow, then we are talking about positive numbers. Okay, so we are only considering positive numbers in inflow and positive numbers in outflow. Okay, but in terms of net flow, it can be negative. Okay, so that is the difference between flow and stock values. This is very important. Now, in development economics and many other development areas, we talk about capital. Yeah, capital. Capital is a typical example of stock variable. Okay. For example, in this case, let's think about physical capital. Physical capital is like asset items, machinery, buildings, vehicles, computers. Okay, you invest and purchase, use it over time. Okay. Yeah, so that kind of physical capital. As you invest in the capitals, in physical capital, then the stock of capital increases. Okay, when you buy more computers, then the total stock of the physical capital increases. Okay, or when you invest in some, improving the functionality of the computer, maybe you replace the SD-RAM. Okay, well, you buy some facilities for vehicle. Okay, then the total value of your stock holding can increase. Okay, so as you invest, the stock increases. But if you don't invest, just continue using it, then eventually the stock decreases because the functions can decrease. The functions can deteriorate. Okay, it can cause some glitches, which will require repair. Okay, so physical capital over time may deteriorate in quality. Okay, and then the stock of capital decreases. And this type of decrease in stock of capital is called depreciation. So in accounting, we consider depreciation. Okay. Yeah, because we assume as you use the capital item, the quality eventually decreases. Okay. Okay, and then in this case, when you think about, instead of savings, okay, when we think about stock of physical capital, then investment is the inflow. Okay. And then depreciation is the outflow. Okay. So flow of new investment, it adds to the stock of capital. But with depreciation, the stock of capital decreases. What happened? Yeah. So that was the case of physical capital. Okay. But there are different types of capital, not only physical capital. When we just say capital, it usually means physical capital. Okay. So that's the meaning of capital people often use. But in the development context, especially development economics, you have to define what kind of capital you are talking about. Okay, because there's not only physical capital. Another example, very important one, is human capital. Human capital, this concept can be applied to people's ability and health. Okay, but together it's about the ability or productivity of delivering some work outputs, okay, or some values. So this is called human capital. Human capital is high when people are more educated, experienced, and healthy. So it also has some health component. Because if you are sick, you cannot work. You cannot produce outputs. Okay? And typically, when you're educated, then it's easier to find a preferred job, okay, which can bring higher income. Okay, generally speaking, not all the cases, okay, but in many cases. And also, obviously, experience, it matters. Okay, so as you have more and more experiences, then your productivity increases. Your ability to deliver outputs, quality outputs efficiently, that will improve. Okay? So when you say human capital, it refers to this kind of dimensions: education, experience, and also health. Okay? So that's what we mean by improving human capital or investing in human capital. Then we are talking about this kind of thing. Okay? Higher education or giving training, providing training, okay? Or giving a good healthcare facilities, that kind of thing, okay? So all those initiatives are related to improving human capital. Yeah, so that is also capital, okay? It's a stock. It's an accumulation of a result of investment in improvement of human capital. Okay, so that is the important point. Okay, so in the case of human capital, you have this stock of ability and health. Okay, and as you invest in human capital, then this stock increases. Okay, so investment comes from above, inflow of health through moderate exercise, balanced diet, sufficient rest. Okay, so taking care of your health, not becoming seriously sick. Okay, avoiding diseases. Okay, so that is what you do when you invest in human capital, but health aspect. Okay, but the other aspect, knowledge and education experiences, yeah, that can also have investment, inflow of knowledge and skills through studying more, receiving training, attending training, or gaining experience. Okay, so as you experience, as you study, then yeah, this aspect of human capital receives investment. Okay, inflow. So when there's inflow, the stock increases. Okay. How about outflow in the case of human capital? Is outflow possible? Yeah, it can happen. For example, health. Someone? No. Yeah, for example, health. You may lose health. You can become sick. Okay? You can get hospitalized and become unable to work. Or simply by aging. By aging, you will not be able to work as much as when you were young. Okay? So simply by declining in the physical. Okay? So yeah, that can happen. Human capital can deteriorate in the health aspect, disease, aging, that kind of thing. Okay, or injury as well. By accident, you may get injured and you will be unable or less able to work. What about in terms of education and experience, the skills? Can it decline? Yeah, it's possible. It's possible to lose some knowledge. You may forget, okay, because of oblivion. When you move to some other type of job, then you may forget about the previous one. Okay, so that kind of thing can happen, but to a much smaller extent compared to investment, compared to inflow. Okay, so when you accumulate, once you accumulate skills, knowledge, experience, then you will not lose it much. Health you may lose at some point. But this side, education skills, you will not lose much. Okay? Yeah, so that is why investment in this aspect of human capital is very important. Because it will not deteriorate much once it's accumulated. However, it takes time. Okay? It cannot accumulate like quickly like a physical capital. Physical capital, you can purchase some item. It can accumulate in one day. But human capital, you cannot accumulate in one day. It takes like many years. Okay? So investment in human capital takes long. But once it's accumulated, it will not deteriorate much. Okay? That is the characteristic of human capital. Okay? As a stock. Yeah, already discussed. Okay, now we understand different types of capital, okay, and the importance of capital. But what is the role of capital? Yeah, capital is the source of productivity in value creation. It can bring, simply put, it can bring income. Okay, it can bring growth in income. It can bring reduction in poverty. Okay, so different types of capital, not only physical, but also human capital, social capital, all kinds of capital. It adds to productivity. Okay, so this kind of productivity translates into income per capita. Okay, so the higher capital you have, then the more work you can deliver per time. The more productive you can become. Okay, if you have better vehicle, if you have a better computer, if you have more knowledge, if you have more experience, then you can deliver more work. Okay, more efficiently per unit of time. Okay, both quality and quantity wise. Yeah, already explained. Okay, so yeah, if you have some better computer, you can do calculation, analysis better and faster. Okay, compared to when you use pen and paper, for example. Okay. Yeah, so capital adds to productivity. Yeah, with health, yeah, obviously, you can work more productively compared to when you're sick. Okay, different types of capital. Yeah, so far we discussed physical capital and human capital. But there are also other very important types of capital that we need to understand. Okay. One is financial capital. Capital in the form of money. Okay, not in the form of asset items. It can be loan. It can be credit. It can be access to credit. accessibility to credit, availability of credit, affordability of credit. Okay. Venture capital, when you start a small business, whether venture capital is available and how much, how easy. Project finance, leasing, or deferred expenses. It's like credit. Okay, you purchase something, but you don't have to pay soon. Okay, so all these kind of features, we call it financial capital. This is also very important, especially in the context of entrepreneurship. When financial capital is low, then the off-farm sector jobs, such as small businesses, it will not grow. Okay. Yeah. So financial capital is also very important. What are other types of capital? In development economics, this is very, very important. Social capital. What is social capital? Social capital basically refers to the level of trust between people. Okay, to what extent people trust each other. Okay, so trust, goodwill, interpersonal relations, social network. Okay, so how many people you know? Okay, how many of them are close, reliable, trustworthy? You can say they will not cheat you. Okay, and norms. Okay, social norms. Okay, when there's a norm, then to what extent people follow the norm? To what extent people are organized in their collective action? Okay, shared values, cooperation, spirit of cooperation, or reciprocity. Okay, so when someone violates a rule, then is there a mechanism to punish? Okay, or some retaliation? When this person violates the rule, then it will receive retaliation from the other person. That kind of thing. Okay? So it's related to interpersonal relations. A mechanism to minimize free riding, cheating, theft, okay, and other wrongdoing. Okay? That is what we call social capital. This is very, very important. When we talk about market mechanism, we will talk about market mechanism later. Okay, but market cannot develop without social capital. Okay. Natural capital. That is also very important. Okay. So-called values inherent in ecologies or natural systems. Okay, environments, which can be a source of ecosystem services to human life and wealth. Okay, for example, national park, or beach with clear water, or lake with fish stock where people can catch fish, or scenic views, or oil reserve that can be used for power generation, and even food production. Okay, so many things are natural, coming from natural capital. For example, this one. This is made of wood. Okay, so that is also coming from natural capital. Okay, so natural capital is also very important. It's also a stock. Okay, intellectual capital. Yeah, sometimes we define it, but in many cases we don't consider. But basically, it's about accumulation of intellectual property rights. Okay, with which when other people use your property, then you can get some income. Okay, so this is also kind of accumulation that will bring you additional income. Okay, public capital. Sometimes we include it in physical capital, but it's not your private, personal level of investment. It is usually provided by the public or the government. Okay, so basically it's infrastructure which supports your production, your productive activities. For example, creating highways, railways, airports, or water treatment facilities, telecommunications, internet network, okay, connection, electricity grids, energy, utilities, and also police services that will ensure the safety, the fire protection, and the court of law, etc., etc. Okay, so all these kinds of soft and hard infrastructure, we refer to them as public capital. Okay, so that is also a stock variable. Okay, that contributes to your productivity. Okay. So one note is public capital can be owned by private companies. So it's not only owned by the government. For example, in some countries, utility companies, energy companies, and so on, and there can be private companies. Okay. So public capital doesn't mean government. Okay. Doesn't always mean government. Okay. Yeah, I think it's time. Okay, so we finish. What do we have? Okay, good. Yeah, so the next is the new topic. Okay. So any question about capital? Yeah, because this is very important. Capital and especially stock versus float. So if you're not clear, please ask questions.
Hello, Professor.
Yes.
Where does someone's like creation come under? Like, for example, some kind of art that
Creation
or
of
some form of art that I created. Is that like?
Sorry, I cannot hear you. Creation of
Some form of art that I created. For
Sorry, I cannot hear you well. Can you write some keywords in the chat box? Yeah, it's okay. If you're ready, you can go. I just wait for her. Okay, so other people, if you want to go, you can go.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some form of art that I created is like that is also my intellectual property, right? Under.
You're talking about IP, intellectual capital. Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
Yeah, if it's legally registered, then you have intellectual capital.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but if it's not protected, it's also related to public capital. If there's no legal system to ensure your intellectual property, then it will not work.
Okay.
Okay, then see you at 4 tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, job.
จะมีวันอาทิตย์ดีเฟกต์วันอาทิตย์ดีเฟกต์ you mean that once the economic growth it gonna shift to this line
Yeah, shift to this way.
and what is it
With inequality reduction, this second curve becomes tall. Okay.
because the
Because of
the middle class increase.
Because the low income people and high income people decrease. Yeah, yes, so middle class increase. So that is inequality reduction. Right? When inequality is reduced, how much will it contribute to poverty reduction? That is shown by
Little
light
bit.
blue. Little bit, yes. Light blue.
Why?